Imagine this. We are on the moon right now, staring down at Earth, and we have just colonized it, making it our own. And now we're going to turn this moon base into our second home base before we launch off to Mars to make it our new space. Hey guys, Cyber Rob here, coming at you from Cyber City. Again, I just want to emphasize CERN Basher. Great financial advisor. He is awesome, and he's got one of these articles that I like to read again. It's called The Moon's Industrial Resource. So I just think that people are taking the moon aspect of having it be part of a base in order to get bigger and better for us as humanity to launch off into Mars. And I think it's just the first step into many steps to trying to get us to Mars, okay? So when people imagine the moon, they often picture a lifeless, dusty surface. That dirt is called regolith, I think it's called. Might look useless, but it's actually one of the most valuable and available resources in space. Regolith is the layer of loose dust and rock debris that covers the moon, Mars, asteroids, and other celestial bodies. In a world where launching materials from Earth is extremely expensive, regolith changes everything. It allows us to build, power, and sustain human activity in space using local resources. In many ways, regolith is the foundation of the future space economy. It's important to note that regolith isn't uniform dust everywhere. Its composition differs dramatically between Mir. It's a basalt rich, more iron, titanium, and highland regions. Also, the polar regolith is permanently shadowed regions inside deep craters, has ice and other frozen volatiles such as CO2, methane, hydrosulfate, and more. So I think that when SpaceX AI gets onto this moon and they kind of form their own colony, making it a base for us, I think it's going to be much easier to form a production like line setup there to build probably the data AI centers, probably to build Starlink satellites and start launching them off of the moon's gravity, because I think the moon's gravity is only 1/3 of Earth's. So you can only imagine that it takes so much energy, so much fuel to burn and to get out of this atmosphere and into space, right? So that's what I think that the moon base idea / production and making it a home base for us as humans is going to come more into frame, right? Into picture with this, because of the fact that they can start making their own stuff in order for us to launch into space. All right. So building on the moon, turning dust into infrastructure, right? I think this is such a cool background with Starship in the background. You know, you got the moon, the Earth or some sort of other planet that's right there with the structure that you can see some of the spacemen that are there, and then just building stuff right there. Can you imagine the Cybertruck just being on there, just beasting it out? That would be awesome. Anyways, one of the most important uses of regolith is construction. Instead of transporting steel and concrete from Earth, astronauts can use lunar soil to build structures directly on the moon. For example, regolith can be heated and fused into solid blocks, much like bricks. Did not know that. It can also be used in 3D printing systems to create entire habitats layer by layer. Imagine a robotic printer building a moon base using nothing but local dust. That is crazy. I did not even know like this can even occur. And look at now, you have tunnels like down inside. That is just absolutely crazy, with just moon base up top and just all the habitats down below, with having your hydroponics down below, anything that you can do and have a colonization underneath the surface, right? That almost reminds me of Total Recall from Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? When they were on Mars. So this approach is already being tested by organizations like NASA, which has funded research into regolith-based construction, landing pads, roads, and protective walls could all be made from this material. The benefit is simple. Instead of spending enormous amounts of money launching building materials into space, we use what's already there. Regolith becomes the moon's version of concrete. That is crazy to even think that we can use the materials on the moon to make us our own society, right? That is just crazy. It's a natural shield, protection from radiation. The moon has no atmosphere and no magnetic field, which means it is constantly bombarded by harmful radiation from space. This is one of the biggest challenges from long-term human survival on the moon. Regolith provides a solution. By peeling a few meters of lunar soil on top of the habitats, astronauts can create a protective barrier against radiation and micrometeorites. For example, a habitat could be built and then covered with thick layers of regolith, almost like burying a bunker. Another option is to build inside natural formations like lava tubes and then reinforce them with regolith. In this way, regolith becomes a natural shield, allowing humans to live safely in an otherwise hostile environment. This is just completely amazing. Like, I'm going over this with you guys on this kind of section of what I perceive to have AI help us getting from off of this planet onto another one, and then maybe even being multiplanetary species, right? I just think that it is fathom to believe that us as humans can be multiplanetary in this moment, right? So I'm just learning a lot as I go along with you guys, and I am just so amazed on what the future is going to hold for us as humans. It's just crazy, right? So fuel from dust, extracting oxygen for rockets. One of the most important surprising facts about regolith is that it contains a large amount of oxygen. Locked inside materials, in fact, up to 40 to 50% of the lunar's regolith is oxygen by weight. Holy cow. Scientists have developed methods to extract this oxygen using processes like heating and electrolysis. Once extracted, the oxygen can be used for two critical purposes: breathing and rocket fuel. Here's why this matters. Rockets don't burn fuel. They also need an oxidizer, and oxygen makes up the majority of that mass. If we can produce oxygen on the moon, spacecraft could refuel there instead of carrying everything from Earth. Regolith potentially turns the moon into a fuel station for deep space travel. And you can see here, that's just crazy. Like, you have a crane just coming in and just scooping all this stuff up. You have an astronaut over here just picking up moon rocks. It's just crazy. This is a great picture on what the potential future it could be for us on Mars. The moon, excuse me. So, mining the moon, metals for manufacturing. Regolith is not just useful for oxygen, it also contains valuable metals such as iron, aluminum, titanium, and silicone. These materials can be extracted and used to manufacture tools, machine parts, and structural components. For example, aluminum could be used to build lightweight frames, while iron could be used for stronger structural elements. This process is part of a broader concept known as in situ resource utilization, ISRU, which simply means using local materials instead of importing them from Earth. In practical terms, this means future lunar bases could eventually build their own equipment, repair their own infrastructure, and expand without relying heavily on Earth. Regolith becomes the raw material of our off-world industrial system. I think that was just like a concern of me in the future to say, hey, if we land on Moon, can we actually colonize this and make it our own and then build structures on this? And how will we build structures? I always thought that we were going to have to shoot that off to the moon, land it on there, and then start making stuff. But if they're trying to say that we can use the materials on the moon and make it our own, and to build infrastructure and safe infrastructure for us to be on it, That is an absolute mind-blowing thing that I cannot even fathom. And I'm learning as we go along with this with you guys. So I'm reading this for the first time, getting you my natural reaction to this. And I can only imagine how AI will help us in there too, because Starlink is going to be all around there, right? So they're going to be able to communicate and get internet and get all this information and feed all this data back into Earth. Earth comes back. SpaceX AI engineers are going to help them with this on top of that. So you're just going to have so many minds in this, so many data points, that there's going to be nobody that's going to sleep on this type of kind of project. And who wouldn't want to be part of this project? This is absolutely phenomenal. Okay, powering the moon, energy and solar infrastructure. Energy is essential for any settlement, and regolith can play a key role here as well. When melted, regolith can be turned into glass, which can be used to manufacture solar panels or protective coverings. Large solar farms could be built directly to the moon using these materials. Regolith can also store heat. This is essentially important because the moon experiences extreme temperature swings and long nights that last about 2 weeks. By storing heat during the day, regolith-based systems could help maintain stable temperatures during the night. In this way, regolith can support the creation of a lunar energy infrastructure, reducing the need to import power systems from Earth. See, that was another thing. If you can, this is like crazy to me, right? This is definitely like science fiction to say you could take these materials and make solar panels and just have these solar panels just face the sun 24/7 as much as possible throughout this whole structure of the moon, and constantly get your power, get your heat, get your, whatever it needs in order for it to be at the right perfect temperature on that. Look at, you can see some of these are buried in the picture with your hydroponic systems, for your own sustainability, which is crazy, right? So another one, growing food in space, a foundation for agriculture. At first glance, regolith does not seem suitable for growing plants. It lacks organic material, contains sharp particles, and can even be toxic in its raw form. However, with proper processing, it can be used as a base for agriculture. By adding water, nutrients, and organic matter, regolith can support plant growth in controlled environments. Experiments have already shown that plants can grow in simulated lunar soil when it is properly treated. In the future, greenhouses on the moon could use processed regolith to grow food, produce oxygen, and recycle waste. This is a critical step toward creating a self-sustaining habitats that do not rely entirely on Earth from their supplies. So, it's crazy that we can maybe grow specific type of vegetables or fruits or type of foods on the ground of this lunar surface, right? Because I only just remember stuff from the movies. In order for them to like grow stuff on Mars, you need specific soil and fertilizer and etc. Right? I don't know how all this stuff is going to pan out to be where we can actually grow our greenhouses and all of our stuff in order for us to be sustained up there, because that is the point, right? You have to realize that if we are up there on the moon, we don't want to rely on Earth at all for anything, right? Because if something was to happen up there, an emergency or whatever the case may be, you want to be able to be self-sustaining on your own, right? That's the whole point of trying to be as self-sufficient as possible. That includes Mars, right? Because it's going to take so long to get to Mars, whether the proper trajectory is either from the moon or from Earth itself, right? It's still going to be a long way, and that's kind of a scary moment with that, all right? The challenge of lunar dust, a dangerous resource. I'm assuming that it's got to be toxic a little bit. Despite its many benefits, regolith also presents serious challenges. Lunar dust is extremely fine, sharp, and abrasive. It sticks to surfaces due to static electricity and can damage equipment, spacesuits, and even human lungs. During the Apollo missions, astronauts reported that lunar dust clung to everything and caused significant wear and tear. This means that any system using regolith must also include ways to manage and control it. Engineers are now developing dust-resistant materials, sealed habitats, and automated cleaning systems to deal with this issue. Like many valuable resources, Rogalith is both an opportunity and a problem that must be carefully managed. The foundation of a space economy. Rogalith may look like a simple dust, but it's farther than that. It is a key to building protective, fueling, and sustaining human life beyond Earth. It allows us to construct habitats, shield ourselves from radiation, produce rocket fuel, manufacture materials, generate energy, and even grow food. Without it, every mission would depend entirely on Earth, making large-scale space exploration incredibly expensive. With it, the moon becomes something entirely different. Not just a destination, but a platform for expansion into the rest of the solar system. In the same way with natural resources enable the growth of civilizations on Earth, Rogalith may enable the next great leap, turning humanity into a true space-faring species. I agree with this 100%. As I said, I think going to the moon is the first step to going to Mars, right? Because then you can start doing the infrastructure from there, start launching the Starlink satellites into space too. You can almost probably put it in the same trajectory path that they're going to do, because we're going to need to relay messages from Starship. If you are launching from the moon to Mars, you want to be able to go ahead and get all that data that is transpiring on your trip, right? The more data, the better. That's just in any type of business that you have. Look at Full Self Drive. It has over 10 billion miles worth of FSD data that is gathering from roads on a daily basis all around the world, and maybe even in the country, right? Especially here in this country, in the US. I just think that the more data that you guys have, the more it's going to be better for any type of situation that you're going to be in. So I think this will happen in my lifetime, on colonizing Mars and then setting up a kind of like their own moon economy in this way, and then start to progress in a very good society in order for us to launch to Mars. So tell me what you guys think about this article. If you had the chance to go on the moon, would you go? I would. For sure, as long as it was safe. But that's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm just a risk taker. So let me know in the comments on what you guys think. Do you guys think that we will colonize in the moon in the next 5 years, 10 years? Give me your best guess. Let me know if you want me to keep going with some of these articles that Sir Basher has. I am going to do it anyways. There's plenty of stuff to go along with you guys in order for you guys to get educated on this, and to kind of free up your mind on what the future will hold for us. All right, so thank you guys I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think.